Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Well, it's officially July, and you know what that means. It's time for Christmas. Just kidding. It's not time for Christmas yet. I'm not ready for Christmas either, but it is Christmas in July, and scrapbook.com is celebrating with this brand new release of really fabulous holiday stamps here. I have them all out so you can kind of get a peek. I'm going to be using a couple of these stamp sets in my card today, and we're going to do a little bit of rainbow striped paper piecing. Now, this is something I've done in the past, but I wanted to kind of revisit it and break all of the traditional Christmas color rules, red and green. We are going to use some rainbow striped paper for this Christmas card. So I have a piece of typing paper here. It's cut to about 4 inches by 4 inches. You can do this in any size that you want. And I have this really strong scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive. This is the 2-inch wide. And I am just covering that typing paper with this adhesive. And I'm going to trim it down with my Tim Holtz non-stick scissors. Non-stick scissors are your friend when you are dealing with adhesive like this. Now, I did want to mention this adhesive does come in full sheets, so you could use that instead if you wanted to create a larger piece. And keep in mind, you can do this as big or as small as you want. Now, I did want to mention that that piece of typing paper, I believe, is actually an old nursing school care plan. So, I don't need that anymore. I just kind of save things like those and use them for scraps in my craft room. So if you have some old stuff that you printed out that you don't need anymore, it's great for a technique like this. I want to use a lighter weight paper for my background because I don't want to be cutting through too many layers of cardstock and make my job a little more difficult. So I've taken a bunch of textured cardstock here. And it's a whole rainbow of textured cardstock, and I've trimmed it into 1/4-inch strips. And I'm going to reveal the adhesive on this typing paper on my old nursing school care plan. And I'm going to leave a little piece of that kind of covered so I have a little handle in order to pick up this piece of paper that I'm working on and not get my fingers all in that adhesive. Now, you don't want to touch the adhesive because you're going to take away some of the tack of it. So just kind of keep a little corner covered and that will make a great little handle for you. So now we have our adhesive exposed and it's time to just start adding our strips in rainbow order. Now I've chosen to use textured cardstock for these. You do not have to use textured cardstock. In fact, it probably would have been better had I not used textured cardstock on this because it's going to make my job of stamping and embossing on this a little bit more difficult. But I'll show you how to overcome that as well. But I'm just taking these and I'm laying them kind of at a 45-degree angle. It may not be perfect, but it's about 45 degrees. And I'm just laying them and kind of butting up the edges right up next to each other so there's no gaps between the colors. And you can see I am leaving the long edges all on one side because I'm going to be able to trim off the ends of these strips and use the other end of that to complete the square covered with all of these different colors of strips here. Now, once I kind of work my way down to the greens, the blues, and the purples, I'm going to be able to kind of remove the rest of that adhesive backer there and be able to work with this easily and not have an area that I need to have a handle because I'll have plenty of that adhesive covered with these strips. So I'm just coming down to the purple here, and then you're going to see me take a pair of long blade scissors and just trim right along the edge of this paper here. Now, I love these scissors from American Crafts. They are not only gold and adorable, but they cut so well. I actually have a few pairs of these in my craft room. And when I am looking for a pair of scissors to cut like ribbon or sometimes fabric, I reach for these. They work really well. So once I have my entire paper covered in these strips of rainbow textured cardstock, I can start die cutting. And here is an example of an entire sheet that I did. And I'll be using this entire sheet today just because I can, and it has more blue in it. I couldn't find that darker teal colored cardstock to cut some strips for today's demonstration, but I have done this technique in the past and I have plenty of scraps left over. So I actually think it's great to make a full sheet of this and have a bunch of it on hand because it also makes for great die cut sentiments. Like if you cut a word from this, it looks super cool. And I'll throw a card into a video where I've used this rainbow striped paper before so that you can get some more ideas for using this in your crafting. Now I have taken this little banner shape here. This is a part of a nesting die set that is a scrapbook.com exclusive die set. I have all of them here. You can see these start out really small and go really big. These would be perfect for creating a party banner, and I love that you have so many different sizes. But I've die cut that rainbow striped paper using that little banner there. And now I'm going to take a sentiment from the Sassy Christmas stamp set. This is a part of the new July 2019 release from scrapbook.com. And I'm putting it in my We Are Memory Keepers stamp positioning tool. This is the Precision Pressed Advanced is what I believe they call it. And I'm going to treat the surface of this striped paper with a powder tool because I'm going to do a little heat embossing on top of it. And whenever you're heat embossing, I definitely recommend using an anti-static powder tool. You're going to be much happier with your results. So I've taken my sentiment, inked it up in some Versamark ink, stamped it onto my banner here, and now I'm adding white embossing powder and I'm heat setting that until it's smooth and melted. Now this heat embossed banner is pretty much going to be the focal point of my card, but I did want to add a little bit of stamping, and today for my card base, I'm going to be using these scored vertical cards from scrapbook.com. They are made from Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. They also offer the card fronts, which are the flat card fronts that are cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So if you're looking for some pre-cut Neenah Solar White cardstock, you can pick up some of these items from scrapbook.com. They have the horizontal scored A2 size cards, the card fronts, as well as the vertical scored cards, which I'm using today. Now back to the card. I am using the big and bold holidays stamp. And this says Merry Christmas, and I'm inking it up in the lightest gray color ink from scrapbook.com, and I'm stamping it on the side of my card front here. So I'm just, actually this is my card base because it's folded at the top. And I just double stamped that because I wanted it a little bit darker, and it's just gonna add a little bit of texture and interest to this basically all over white card front here. Now, because I stamped on textured cardstock, I had quite a few holes in my embossing. So to remedy that, I just took a white paint pen and just kind of filled in some of the gaps. Now, I still don't have a perfect embossing here, but I'm okay with that. I knew that going in that I may not get perfect embossing on this textured cardstock. So if that's something that's going to bother you, you may want to use a smooth cardstock rather than a textured cardstock for this technique. So now I'm pretty much just adding some foam adhesive on the back of this banner. I added a little strip of gold glitter cardstock across the top using some scrapbook.com tape runner adhesive. And now I'm going to use a T-square ruler to make sure that I have this lined up straight on my card front. And then I'm going to take this sentiment here. It says, Santa doesn't believe in you either. It is also from the Sassy Christmas stamp set from scrapbook.com. I've just white heat embossed that onto some black cardstock, and then I just added that on with some tape runner adhesive. And I think this is such a funny, snarky Christmas card, but I love all the color on it as well because the whole card says it's all fun and games until Santa checks the naughty list. And then it says Santa doesn't believe in you either. So I just think it's fun and just something a little bit different. And keep in mind that even though this is a Christmas card, this would make a great birthday card design as well. I know that scrapbook.com has some sentiments that would work really well for this design in a birthday card. And then I've just taken a couple little holly leaf and berry clusters. This is from the Rustic Christmas Wreaths stamp set that was released last year from scrapbook.com. And I've just fussy cut those out and added some Nouveau drops for the berries there. And I used carnation pink for my holly berries to kind of tie in all those bright rainbow colors that I have going on in my paper pieced die cut here. So that completes my card for today, celebrating a little Christmas in July. Trust me, I'm not ready for Christmas either, but maybe if I get started now, I will be ready by December, although that's really doubtful as well. As always, you will find links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. But head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end. You know, if you've made it this far, you are one of my favorites. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, go ahead and click the button on the left side of the screen. And here's a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.